Hello, and welcome to the State of the City. I'm Mayor Bill McIntyre. Year one for me and your elected body of council members, Alshire, Anderson, Bell, Burnett, and Flaherty, can be summed up as a whirlwind of activity. And it wasn't just us. A lot was achieved in the city of Hagerstown last year, so just how do we quantify it all? Well, as the saying goes, numbers are the silent architects behind every great discovery. And this video is built around numbers. Numbers to be given a voice by 12 department heads, our one and only city administrator, your 5 council members, 4 community partner representatives, and 2 new city business owners. I'm confident you'll find what you're about to see and hear illuminating, impactful, useful, and even surprising, perhaps especially surprising. So without further ado, let's look back at 2025 by the numbers.
I'm proud to say that our crime numbers are down and our sworn staffing is up since last year through innovation, technology supported by our council over the last year, and civilianizing positions like our real-time information center and using part-time sworn members. We were proved that we can do this job and make our city a safer place. And today we are safer. And our job is to not just serve and protect, but to make people feel safe when they come out into the city streets.
0. That's the number of civilian fire fatalities in the city of Hagerstown in 2025. Last year, we responded to over 4,600 emergency calls, but our real mission is to prevent the 911 call before it happens. Through neighborhood canvassing, we knocked on over 3,400 doors and we installed 302 smoke alarms to keep you safe. No lives lost. That is the Hagerstown Fire Department and Community Risk Reduction in action.
The 2 numbers that stand out to me are the number of customers we serve, which is 90,000, and the other number that stands out is the number of customer responses that we do, which is 17,900. Most people don't think about customer service when they think about utilities, but we pride ourselves on customer service.
In 2025, a large reorganization was finalized, which brought about 3 major departmental changes. The move sent the Planning Department to the Department of Economic Development, the Permits and Inspection Group to the City Engineer's Office, and created a new department entitled Housing and Community Development to include code enforcement in addition to our Community Development Group. This is a strategic attempt to streamline processes, improve transparency, and deliver more predictable outcomes, including the creation of a dedicated development liaison to strengthen collaboration between the city and the development community. It is also designed to reduce delays, improve service delivery, and support responsible, sustainable growth, with the new liaison serving as a primary point of contact for questions on the life cycle of a development, be it new construction or acquisition of an existing parcel, as well as being proactive in the code review and communication needs of the developer. This reorganization will and is already enhancing efficiency, accountability, and customer service while fostering clear communication, partnership, and investment in the community.
Last year, out of all of the violations that were issued, 81% of those came into compliance. So that's a big number for us because behind every percentage is not just the percentages, it's the families that represent that. So when residents call, we answer and we respond. But our work goes beyond enforcement. We've invested more than $2.2 million back into homeowners, small businesses, and our city parks, supporting the people and the places that make Hagerstown home.
There are 3 numbers I would like to highlight that reflect growth and development. First, recent completed and planned projects total more than $420 million of new investment. This is a significant number that will contribute to the city's accessible base. Next are the resulting 500 new jobs. These jobs will fortify our workforce and create economic mobility opportunities for our residents. And third, 2 developments will create 550 new housing units. This will address our important need for growing our housing supply.
So I'd say one aspect of daily living in the city that residents probably don't associate with the engineering department is garbage collection. Our department administers the contract for weekly trash, recycling, and seasonal yard waste collection in the city. We service about 16,000 customers, and on an average year, we collect about 13,000 tons of garbage during the year. The cost for that service is $292 a year, which sounds like a big number, But when you think about it on a daily basis, that's 80 cents a day to have that service provided to you. So I think that that's a good deal and a good service that the city provides.
I'd say Public Works is I'll say a support system for a lot of other departments. What we do is not glamorous, it's not shiny and new, but what we do is very necessary. And when we don't do that job, people really notice it. The obvious one is snow plowing, right? If that's not done, we're the first responders in that case, right? For us, we're the first responders so that the first responders, such as fire, police, and ambulance, can get out and about and do their thing. So we have to be on the street first and take care of those things. Street sweeping in particular is probably the #1 complaint that we get, or concern that we get from the citizens is regarding street sweeping, which we try to do as much as we possibly can.
The number that sticks out to me the most is 10,125 first-time users to the Pay by Phone parking app. It's convenient to use. You don't have to walk back to your car to re-up the app. You don't have to have spare change available. And it just makes it a little easier for everyone.
Well, the biggest thing that stands out to me is the number of parks that our department oversees and maintains. So when we say the number 22, they're like, wow, we have 22 parks in the city of Hagerstown. So yeah, we have 22 parks that our Parks Department maintains and oversees. A lot of those are smaller pocket parks, but the larger ones are the obvious, the City Park, Fairgrounds Park, Pangbourne Park. So it's nearly 300 acres of green space that our department maintains.
Downtown Hagerstown was excited to welcome 28 unique events that the City of Hagerstown sponsored through $54,000 of funding through the Downtown Event Grant. And then outside of that, there were 120 events put on by Main Street, Parks and Recreation, and then our community partners. And this really transformed downtown, our city parks, our city streets, into not just a place to come and see, but a beautiful space filled with positive energy, music, and entertainment. So having all of these events, it's more than just we're doing fun things. We are activating public spaces. We're also having hundreds of musicians, artists, vendors, small entrepreneurs come into our downtown to share their talents and successes, with pairing that with what we already have in our small businesses and organizations that are downtown.
A large percentage of them are tourists, and a lot of them come from further than 50 miles away. And when someone visits our town, look at it this way, their visit is worth $266. That's the average visitor spend. Now, day visitors a little less, overnight a little more, but the average is $266. So you take 1.35 million visitors to Hagerstown and Washington County, they spend $359 million in our economy. Now narrow that down to who comes to the field house and who comes to Meredith Park. It's a little less, but no doubt it's very impactful for our community. Another hidden value in the tourist is it's often the first date with economic development. Someone comes here, has a good time, they come back. They start to look around. Hey, I could live here. I could open my business here. I could expand my business here. So quite often when you see something happening in real estate or in business development, that investor came here for a performance at Maryland Theater, for a game at Meredith Park, to watch their kid play at the field house. And they fell in love with the community and they invested in it.
So I think the number that stands out to me most in terms of just jumps off the page is that we serviced almost 80,000 customers within our new location at 32 North Potomac Street. And the reason that really just is so staggering to me is that we have 7 full-time staff. We have 2 part-time staff. To service that many citizens of Hagerstown is pretty amazing. That includes everything from the people who walk in the door, to the people who come in through our drive-through, to the people who call on the phone. We don't have a call center. We are the people who service the phone calls. And I just think that shows an incredible dedication in terms of efficiency and just the want to help people.
So interest in working for the City of Hagerstown surged in 2025. We received over 4,200 applications, which was nearly a 50% increase from the year prior. Strong organizations attract strong talent, and that reflects the culture that we have here at the City of Hagerstown. Behind every city service are the people. The Human Resources Department is focused on bringing in the best talent to help serve the community. Whether it's our insurance, our retirement plans, or just the overall workplace, the City of Hagerstown continues to be one of the best places to work in Washington County.
With assistance from the state, the federal government, and the community partners, the City of Hagerstown continues its quest to ensure affordable housing choices exist for everyone. Funding allocated through our Governor Moore's Enough Act initiative is in year 2 of addressing housing stability, rental assistance, and systemic childhood poverty in the city's South End as administered by Bester Community of Hope.
Last year when we talked about Enough, we were really focused on the promise of what's possible. And this year it's really about progress on our process. You know, we have done so much in the first part of this last fiscal year to bring on new staff, to invest in families, and I'm really excited as we move through this fiscal year that we're going to start seeing some tangible results. With the Enough Act, we've had the opportunity to plug holes in the neighborhood safety net with 8 different sub-grantees, community partners in our community. But what's really exciting is that we're no longer just thinking about stopping the emergency. We're focused on moving families from surviving to thriving. In this next year, people are going to start to experience and see tangible transformation in their neighborhood. Much of our work that we do is with families in the shadows. Now the work will be investment in the neighborhood that you'll be able to physically see.
As one of 14 cities selected nationally, the city is co-applicant with the Hagerstown Housing Authority in seeking out $26 million from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for a Choice Neighborhood implementation grant that would, among other things, focus on housing quality, affordability, and pathways to home ownership within the footprint bordered by Prospect and Mulberry Streets, Cannon Avenue, and Eastern and Memorial Boulevards.
The Hagerstown Housing Authority and the City of Hagerstown jointly applied for a HUD planning grant back in 2013. It was a 2-year grant that focuses on 3 key pillars: housing, people, and neighborhood. The plan was established, was submitted to HUD back in September. One of the components, which I didn't realize at the time, and going back and looking, was we had over 400 meetings gathering data from the community to really design this transformation plan.
Only 4 applicants will be awarded, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that we'll hear good news when HUD makes their announcement in August.
Hagerstown handed the keys to the city last year to 2 amazing gentlemen. The key to the city is our highest honor. It symbolizes trust, respect, gratitude, and is awarded to selected individuals whose actions have significantly improved the community. Bill Gertner, the founder of Gatekeepers, a living, breathing embodiment of amazing commitment to redemption and renewal through service, was so honored in October. And very near and dear to my heart, in part because he's my cousin. Back in July, it was 1990 Atlantic Coast Conference Basketball Player of the Year and one of the greatest 3-point shooters in NBA history, Dennis Scott, a native of Jonathan Street community who never forgot where he came from, who received his key.
So as you look at how Hagerstown has transformed, everybody over 50, remember, they said I wasn't gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. Nobody makes it out of Hagerstown. Nobody makes it from Jonathan Street. No one never had.
To quote my cousin, hard work never lies, and I couldn't be more proud that he now owns the key to the city that I represent.
Often overlooked in Hagerstown is how efficient 500 dedicated employees make the Hub City run. Here's the facts. 40 of those keep nearly 300 acres of parks and venue spaces clean and ready for hundreds of athletic leagues, events, and reservations. 50 more in Public Works deploy more than 400 pieces of equipment across the city's infrastructure, whatever the season demands. Another 12 from engineering focus on 140 traffic signals, 20 overlay projects, and thousands of stormwater facilities which require annual inspection. 11 in economic development direct 1,000 new prospects through multiple incentive programs, and 5 in planning guide dozens of projects through the monthly approval process. This generates about 50 building permits for 4 inspectors weekly. Code enforcement is divided among 10 staff across city zones, each responsible for annually inspecting roughly 2,500 properties. Just 28 employees in Hagerstown Light deliver 875,000 kilowatts over 7 substations to 18,000 electric customers who experience less than an hour of downtime during outage events. There are 53 that deliver 11 million gallons of water through 450 miles of pipeline to more than 80,000 customers each day at the lowest rate in the region. On the receiving side, there's 44 staff that process more than 6 million gallons of wastewater daily through 180 miles of pipeline and 24 pump stations for 50,000 customers. Last year, 93 city police officers and 25 support staff responded to 68,000 calls and issued more than 36,000 parking and moving citations while patrolling roughly 15 square miles. 79 city firefighters from 6 stations responded to roughly 35% of all county fire calls, arriving in less than 4 minutes on average, including many areas far from the city's edges. All of this supported by 45 people in general government that carry out a host of other responsibilities from billing to IT. The employees that deliver these services aren't a supplemental statistical function of some subsidized part of local governance in Washington County. They are an absolutely critical component of how the spokes and the wheels of this community are able to move forward each and every day.
Attracting new businesses to the city is important for 4 main reasons. From job creation, to adding the municipal tax base, to stimulating economic growth, to diversifying choices for consumers. In 2025, the city proudly welcomed 83 new businesses, including 2 literally just down the street from each other.
I would say that Hagerstown is amazing. Contrary to what you may hear, since I've been doing events since 2020, I was able to draw people from different markets to come into the market. So I already knew that people will come. There's this narrative about the downtown area, nobody wants to go there, it's dangerous, it's this, it's that. Since we've opened, we've had no problems. We've had no problems attracting customers, right? And so, but we do have to generate the traffic. We're not in an area where there's this amazing foot traffic happening all the time. And we're still doing 500 tickets at minimum per week at our business. But it does require marketing. It requires you to make people aware that you exist, and you must put your best foot forward. People want quality for their dollar in order to come downtown.
So opening a new business in Hagerstown, when we first came in, everyone was so welcoming, and that was what drew us into Hagerstown. Meeting Leah and Brittany with the development crew and everything over there, with meeting Mayor McIntyre, everyone was so welcome to bring in a new business, to bring in this new wave of what we're trying to bring with the baseball stadium, and working with Meredith Park and the boxcars has been great as well. We have been now averaging about 5,000 guests a month, and that just shows what this community comes to get. When they come together, they really do support these businesses in which they want them to thrive, they want them to do well. And that's been one of the things that's been great with the tavern doing so great, and then also with Morgan Hall above us, our event space, 200 people. We can do weddings, corporate events, anything you'd like to do up there. It's just one of the things overlooking the Maryland Theater. It's just what we want in Hagerstown, and that's what we're proud to bring.
A big thank you to all city business owners, new and established, who are truly symbolic of the incredible momentum we're experiencing here in Hagerstown.
As a council, we approved their prohibited lodging out of doors ordinance at the request of HPD back in July. What was a temporary version of the ordinance at the time, its goal was to prohibit sleeping or lodging in any public space and to prevent anyone from essentially camping on city-owned property, and gave the police department the authority to charge individuals found in violation. While opponents originally criticized it for criminalizing homelessness, the results of the 6-month trial period proved to at least one stakeholder who regularly works with that population that in fact it did not do that.
So we know there was a lot of concern regarding implementing this ordinance, but what we've actually seen is a reduction in what people viewed as the image of homelessness that wasn't. We would, individuals doing illegal activities or hanging out along Prospect Street who actually were not homeless, and that was the perception that our community had of homelessness. And so this ordinance has actually encouraged individuals to come into the shelter for the first time or to agree to go to treatment. And so this has actually helped those that are homeless. And I know there are some that were concerned, would they be criminalized? But we have not seen that. And we touch base with our clients regularly and our community partners. And actually, this has improved the safety of our city. where for a while, essentially you could do anything outside without consequence because of legislation. And this has actually allowed HPD to uphold the law and make our community safer.
That's why we voted to make the ordinance a permanent tool in the tool belt of HPD in January.
As we look forward to an even more successful 2026, it was fun to look back at the City of Hagerstown's many accomplishments in 2025. I don't know about you, but I learned a thing or two, 100. I already had a tremendous appreciation for the 578 employees who make our city run so smoothly, but those numbers we just heard took it to a whole nother level. Thank you to the city staff, and thank you to all 43,000 plus residents of Hagerstown, especially those of you who care enough to be engaged. I know my cell phone tells me every day just how much you are, and it's never lost on us as an administration that making Hagerstown a city we can all be proud of is a collaborative effort with you, and that is priority number one.